What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today it's back to class. VGC Clover Academy session has started. We're going to be talking about EV bumps today. So you may have seen me talk about this in all of my team building videos, where every time I'm trying to create EVs for our Pokemon on our teams, I always say, you know, as a starting point, you want to go for some general bumps, okay? And I'll always ask, you know, what, if you don't know what EV bumps are, comment in the video below asking what are EV bumps, and I will respond to you. And I've been doing that, and many of you have always been asking, which is good. But now what I decided to do was actually make like a whole video on what this is. So this way you can reference it and watch it and, you know, understand just like in terms of a video, what it is and how we can use this in creating EV spreads, you know, for your VGC teams. Now, I've actually made this video before, you know, in like Sword and Shield, and maybe even early on in Scarlet and Violet. So I think this is my third time actually making this, but I always like to remake it and update it, you know, in terms of like presenting the information itself. And, you know, we get a lot more subscribers and followers, you know, throughout the months and the years, right? So I wanted to at least cater to the newer audience, for those finding me. So this way they can get the same education that some of you older viewers have gotten before, you know, previously on the channel. So I'm gonna define it. I'm gonna show you a couple graphics, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a couple of examples here with 3 Pokemon, showing, you know, some of these ideas in terms of what EV bumps are, okay? But at least from a very easy definition, okay, you'll see the bump in the boosted stat, okay? When we say the boosted stat, you see the plus sign here, okay? Whenever you go on Pokemon Showdown and you choose a nature, that nature, you know, has a stat that goes up by 10%. That is the boosted nature. That's what we mean by that. And that is where you'll see this bump, okay? And in terms of what it actually is, it's where the stat will increase by 2 points instead of 1. So notice when you move the Showdown slider, right, for a particular stat, it only goes up by 1 point every time you invest the 8 EVs. But in the boosted nature, it turns out that there will be a couple of distinct points where the stat increases by 2 instead of 1. That's what we mean by the bump, okay? So you see here how I have 68 investments and I'm at a stat of 130. Then I go to the next, you know, stat, and then after 76, look, it went up to 132 as a stat. What happened to 131? That's the bump, okay? This is where you're gonna see it. So after that, where is the next one? Okay, so it turns out that it's every 80 EVs where you'll see the next bump. Okay, I tried to make it pretty easy and straightforward to understand rather than reading essays on Reddit, okay, or on Small Gun forums. But for example, here, if the first one is at 76, then you'll see the next one at 156 and then 236, right? Every 80 EVs, you will see this bump, okay? And I'll show it to you live here with some of these Pokemon, just so that you can understand and see it for yourself. Okay, now why do we care about it and why is it important? Because sometimes when we want to just try and test something immediately on ladder, you can just go for these general bumps and then from there redistribute your stats amongst the other 5 stats. So this way you can get to testing immediately in terms of if you don't know what to count for yet, right? So you know, I have like a whole video on this, on like how I go through a process in terms of creating a full EV spread. But part of it is just going for these general bumps first, and then I'll have EVs left over, and then I'll just, you know, put them into like my remaining stats, okay? And sometimes I'll follow some optimization rules, which again, I'll talk about in the next video, but that's the idea. So imagine I have to, you know, create a defensive damage calculation, okay? That means I'm only going to invest a certain amount of EVs to survive a key attack. And then from there, you know, I'll just redistribute whatever's left over into whatever stat did not get any investment yet, right? I call those dump EVs, all right? And, you know, usually the speed is done first because, again, speed is the most important stat in VGC. You could do 1,000,000 damage, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't get to go first, okay? So after that, then I'll maybe hit some general bumps in, you know, in a particular stat, and then whatever's left over, I'll reinvest it into what did not get any EVs left. The reverse is also true, right? If I want an offensive damage calculation, again, I'll always hit that first, you know, after the speed tier, and then redistribute that into the bulk. But again, more on, you know, creating like full EV spreads in the next video in terms of optimization. This video is just more about how do I see these general bumps, okay? So let's go to Incineroar here as a general example, okay? And the reason why I have 3 Pokemon here and 3 examples is, you know, just so that you can see how it's applicable into more than one case. And, you know, every Pokemon has different bumps, okay? It's never set in stone. Like here, I showed 76, 156, 236. That is not true for all of these, okay? It depends on the boosted nature, and it depends on the Pokemon itself, okay? So let's go to Incineroar here, and let's pick a boosted nature. Let's pick Careful. I've always done Careful in my videos for Incin. I just like the special defense boost. Okay, so let's assume I don't have any investment, right? I'm starting from scratch. The stat right now is 121, no investment. Okay, I'm gonna put my first point, which is always 4, and now it went to 122. Fine. Now after that, it's gonna be 8 EVs, okay, where the stat will increase by 1 point. Okay, so look, 12, then it goes to 123, then 124, then 125, then 126, 127, 128. So far the stat is going up by 1 point every 8 EVs, right? 129, 130, and now look what happens. 132. Okay, so this is the first bump, right? Look at this, 130 to 132. Where did the 131 go? This was the example in the video. All right, so this is your first bump. Okay, after this, the next one is 156, right? Because every 80 EVs. So let's actually show it to you, so this way you can see it. 133, 134, 135, 136, 137, 138, 139, 140, 141, and then finally, not 142, but 143, right? You see how you skipped and went into 143? There's no 142 here, and there it is, 156 investment. This is the second bump. Where is the third one? 236, right? If you just know some math, 145, 6, 147, 148, 9, 150, 151, 152, and then 154. There is the third bump there, right? And then, you know, let's say you hit the second bump here, you know, and you had your speed investment. Let's say after Tailwind, you get to outspeed base 100s, or yeah, this will do that just fine. Then you can just dump the rest into HP, put 1 point in the attack. Incineroar is more of a support Pokemon. And then here's my leftover dump EVs, like I mentioned. All right, just put that in defense because that's the only stat that did not get any investment. Congratulations, you've got your general Incineroar spread. You can hop on ladder and test it, okay? I didn't do any defensive damage calcs, okay? All I did was hit a speed that I wanted, go to a bump, and then after that, it was just left over at that point. Put the rest in HP and defense because that's just literally what is left over, okay? But more on this in terms of a full EV spread in the next video when I talked about optimizing EVs, but here I just want to show you the bump. What if I change the stat, okay? Is this still going to be 76, 156, 236 in another stat? Let's see it. Let's make the next bump Adamant. And by the way, just to show you, only in the boosted stat is where you'll see this. Again, I can't reiterate that enough. If you go to another stat that doesn't have the bump, you don't see it, right? I can just go through this slowly one by one, but you don't see this in Adamant nature right now, again, because it's not the boosted stat, right? You see it's only going by 1 point, okay? And then again, you can always try this for yourself, okay? I'm just showing it to you right now because we're making a video. But now let's actually make Adamant the boosted nature, okay? Let's see if the bumps are the same for Careful nature, okay? All right, so 148, 149, 150, 151, 152, 154. Okay, so the first one is actually at 36 rather than 76 investment. All right, let's keep going. If you know the math, then you already know what the next one is and where the third one is. What's 36 plus 80? 116. What's 116 plus 80? 196. Those are going to be your 3 bumps. Let's prove it to you. Don't take my word for it. Let's actually show it to you. 157, 158, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, and then 65. So you see that? You skip the 164. Here's the 116. There is the second bump in the natured stat, which is different from special defense when this was the natured stat. Then let's do another 80 EVs. All right, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71. You can probably guess this is going to be at 176. If you've done this enough and memorized them by heart, you already know where they're going to be. So here we go. 176. Here was that third benchmark, okay? So now we've proven that each boosted nature will have different bumps depending on the stat that you've chosen, okay? What about Tyranitar? Does Tyranitar have the same bumps as Incineroar? Am I going to see the same thing, you know, where I have Careful nature and attack nature? And am I going to see 36, 116, 196 in the attack stat? No. Okay, let's do it. Let's show it to you. let's go to Tyranitar here. Let's move the slider. Let's see where the first bump is. 169, 170, 171, 172, 173, 74. Guess what's coming next? 76. All right, here's the first bump here at 44. Okay, that's different than Incineroar. Incineroar had at 36. All right, then we keep going. All right, you know this is going to be at 187 if you've done this enough. But here we go, 185 and then 187. So here's the second one, right, at 124. Why? Because 44 plus 80 is 124. What's 124 plus 80? 204. All right, that's the next one. Okay, here we go, 192, 193, 94, 95, 96. All right, guess what? There it is, 198. Here's the second bump in the natured stat. All right, now, is that the case for something like speed? Okay, let's look at speed. I'll go timid Tyranitar just for the sake of argument. All right, is that going to be the same? 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 98. I'm sorry, 96, 97, 99. All right, so this one's at 68. All right, again, totally different bump than the attacking stat. Then you keep going, all right, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107. All right, then 108, 109, 110. There you go. You see how you skipped it? Okay, 68 plus 80, 148. What's 148 plus 80? You already know where this is going. Okay, let's just show it. All right, so here we go, 117, 119, and then 121. Okay, so again, you skipped the 120 because this was the third benchmark. All right, so we've shown you two examples, and again, now it's pretty much just muscle memory at this point. Let's just show you Primarina just for the sake of argument, just so that you can see a third example of this in action. Let's go modest nature here. Let's see where Primarina's bumps are. And again, also, there's no bump in HP. I just want you guys to know that. Only, you know, you can't do a nature in HP, okay? Just in case that wasn't clear in, like, your playing experience, okay? So let's see it. 61, 62, 63, 65. So this one's at 28 investments. Okay, then 66, 67, 68, 69, 171, 172, 173, 74, 76. So this one's at 108. Okay, then after another 80, you can probably guess this one's going to be at 188 investment, right? So let's go ahead and go to that. There it is. So you see how you go from 185 to 187. So again, 80 EVs per bump. All right, so that's it. I just wanted to make this like a very short and concise video in terms of what are EV bumps. In the next video, we'll show you how we use the bumps in creating full-fledged EV spreads. I've got a template for that as well, but hopefully this makes sense. Again, just to review, you'll only see this in the natured stat, and it's every EVs after every single bump, and each Pokemon is different. You'll see the bumps in different stats depending on the Pokemon that you have chosen. All right, thanks for watching, guys. And again, if this is stuff that is very helpful to you, again, we go over this in like coaching sessions as well. So if you're interested in getting better at competitive play in Pokemon, and you know, if you're a beginner and trying to understand more in terms of how team building works and how the game works, sign up for coaching on the channel. Tier 3 sub gets you a one-on-one Discord call with me where we can build the team from scratch, and I can show you how we do all our EV bumps and our optimization for the entire team. And if it's something that you need for just simple ladder, or you need it for an upcoming tournament, or for regional play coming up, we've got you covered. If you look in the video description below, there is that link to join the channel with the tier 3 sub, or in the pinned comment section, you can also click the same link. And again, you can sign up for tier 3. And then from there, we'll coordinate, we'll jump on a call, and then, you know, we'll go through a VGC lesson together, or a team building session, whatever it is you need it for. Okay, you can join the Discord for free. You can message me for free. You know, that's always okay. But again, if you want like a personalized one-on-one session, we do have that coaching available on the channel. All right, but that's it for now, folks. Stay tuned for the next video where we go into how to optimize EV spreads. But for now, peace out and have a good one.